plan is, kill the brain, and you kill the ghoul.
For us, that's all. There's no more room in hell.
Dead bodies will continue to be transformed into the flesh-eating ghouls.
Zombies, they creep me out.
First goddamn week of winter.
Tried to destroy him, but I fucked up.
I gave him life.
Groovy.
Welcome to the Voices of the Dead podcast, an extension of the Undead Reviews channel. I'm Trace Clancy.
And I'm Kat.
Today we're going to be talking about what makes us like horror and sci-fi so much, and why I started this channel, and why you helped me with it.
Why do you like horror? What got you into it?
For me, it was kind of a really fun escape from, daily tasks like chores, doing a part-time job, and going to school. But even before that, my parents would watch horror movies, and I'd either accidentally see them or I'd sneak out and watch them. I think the first movie that I seen in Halloween 1978, I saw that when my grandma was babysitting me. Awesome. Grandparent 101. Yeah. And then my mom was cooking Thanksgiving dinner or something like that. And it was on. And the shower scene where Tim Curry pops out of the shower scares the crap out of me. Super scary when you're a kid and you have nightmares about it for weeks and you can't take a shower.
What was your favorite one to watch?
Growing up, my favorite movie?
Mm-hmm.
I've really liked the Friday the 13th. Those were the ones that I'd ride my bike and go rent. I really enjoyed watching Jaws. I remember I saw that when I was like 10, the first movie. I really enjoyed watching Dawn of the Dead, 1978. That's a movie that I've probably paid for more often than I should have. I've re-rented that movie so many times.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. And I have like the super crazy bullshit suck your dick edition, limited fucking pressing of the 4K Ultra box set. It was like $100 and then 10 to ship it.
Yeah, you're not buying anymore.
What about you though? You were watching them with your dad, right?
Yeah, no, I watched him with my dad growing up. And because, I don't know, I feel like it's because I was born in October that it was really like...
Yeah, your birthday is October 13th. What
Yeah.
are the odds of that?
October 13th. So it was like, I don't know. Everybody made it seem like it was like written into my DNA to like Halloween, and it kind of just stuck, I guess. I like it a lot. I'd watch those old ghost stories with my dad in October.
Like the ones on the, not the Discovery Channel, but it was one of those types.
Some of them were on Discovery, but yeah, the ones where they'd be like, they'd go into the old haunted castles, and then they would walk around and they'd be like, hello. And then they'd have those goofy ass like things. And what I liked the most about those wasn't necessarily the people walking around trying to get ghost activity. It was the history behind like the castles. And like, that's actually how I learned a lot about like a lot of old time history, like in that era. It was because of a lot of those videos, and they would talk about like the history of the castle and who died there and why it was so horrendous and stuff. And it was pretty fascinating. One of them was that, I can't remember her name right now. Oh, Mary, like Bloody Mary.
Yeah.
I think it was her. It was somebody, but the girl that would kill people and then like bathe in their blood. One of those castles was hers. I can't remember her name at the moment.
I'm trying to think. Let me look her up.
But she bathed in the blood of people, like mostly like people that were, like commoners, if you will, or people that weren't to her level, slaves, stuff like that. She would like kill them and like bathe in their blood because she thought that they would keep her young forever. Elizabeth, Mary, yep. So I wasn't wrong. But yeah, it was that kind of stuff. I would watch those, and I was really into those, and we would like binge watch them because it was like 12 days of, no, it was like 13 nights of Halloween, or it was something like that. And they would play paranormal stuff all day long.
Remember things like Truth or Scare on this?
Yeah,
Kids?
it was like stuff like that. And then I got into that. And then on my 13th birthday, my 13th. So I've always liked Halloween simply because of that kind of stuff. I was just my groove. I liked the spooky stuff. And that I would watch some horror stuff with my dad. And what I remember one birthday, so my 13th birthday my birthday landed on Friday the 13th when I was turning 13.
That's pretty.
So it was pretty cool. Because I was actually born on a Thursday, the 13th, not a Friday. So my 13th birthday perfectly landed on Friday the 13th in October, and I was turning 13 that year. So it was pretty cool. So I had this huge whole party. I dressed up like Skeleton Jack. And then I had a bunch of friends over, and we watched like Friday the 13th and Halloween, but mostly Friday the 13th because it was Friday the 13th. And then I can't remember what else we watched, but I binge watched all those, and all of them were suggested by my dad. And then I would also make jokes to some of the kids I would babysit because they would get unruly. And I'd be like, yeah, me and Jason share the same birthday, so you better watch out because I'll call him to come take care of you guys. And it would freak them out. And they'd be like, no, never mind. But it worked. And that's what matters. So I don't know. I guess I've always been into it. My dad was the one that kind of brought it in my life. My mom and my dad, actually, because my mom and dad both loved Stephen King. So I had nonstop Stephen King books in the house at all times. Like since I was a kid, there was always Stephen King somewhere around the corner.
Yes, I also liked I don't know. I liked horror since I was a kid. I liked Goosebumps.
Oh, yes.
Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yes.
Scary Stories. Those are all like, I guess the starter kits of like, horror, Stephen King, movies. There's also Twilight Zone.
Yes.
For some godforsaken reason, I distinctly remember my mom watching Child's Play, like the first movie, when I'm trying to think, I might have been like 6 or 7, and I remember having to go to bed, and I crap myself because I thought I saw Chucky's shadow on the wall. Your mind plays tricks on you.
Oh, yeah.
But I'd have nightmares about that thing too for a while, and growing and like now watching all the like Chucky movies, like the first one's only really scary.
The first one's
the other
kinda
ones
scary,
are like really corny.
but they're mostly goofy to me because it's like this grown ass man is inside a doll. Like
I know. I'm like, what a shitty situation for him.
No, yeah, that's kind of it's kind of the same. Like I've always gravitated towards that stuff. I liked the spooky stuff, and so I've kind of always been
Halloween's been a big holiday.
Yeah,
for both of us.
It wasn't. I've always liked it more than Christmas, even as a kid. Even though you got like presents on Christmas, I was like, oh, Halloween though. There was something about it. I absolutely loved it. I would actually get bummed out when I had to cover up my Halloween costume because it was too cold that year. You know how you'd have to wear your big bulky jackets, and you're like, what's the point of wearing a costume if I can't show it off? Because you have to wear your jacket and shit.
Probably, yeah. I remember those. You have to cover yourself in glow sticks too, so it's not authentic.
Oh yeah, it doesn't work that way.
And you're like, Michael Myers would never run around with glow sticks. What is he, a fucking raver?
Yeah, it makes you, you're passionate about it. I loved the spooky stuff. I'd watch Halloween Town. There's like
only like the first 2 Halloween Towns are good. The other one, oh god, why do they butcher them so
I
badly?
don't know, but I loved them. There was like a nostalgia to that year, especially as a kid. I remember specifically as a kid because October would come around, and then Disney Channel would get all spooky, and they'd have like the Mickey Mouse head, and it had like spider webs in it and stuff like that, and it was like purple and orange. And then they'd be like, up next, Halloween Town, and you'd be like, oh fuck yeah, and you get all excited, and it was like you looked outside and it was like that blue sky that autumn always has, like that very specific type of blue.
That one fucking year that was like that Disney Channel decided like, let's go ahead and put Christmas movies on during Halloween and have it for 2 straight months. You don't remember that?
No.
Yeah, that was a thing.
No, I would
dude,
ruin
that was
it.
the thing. I was like, man, no Halloween Town on Halloween. Blasphemy.
That is blasphemy. No,
Blasphemy.
Halloween's just, and it's the season too. It's like the autumn. It's just something about it. It's like I said, that blue hue in the sky mixed with all the orange and the yellow leaves and the smell and like the crisp air, like that cold where it's not like freezing cold, but it's cold and you can wear a jacket and it has like this beautiful smell of the leaves and the trees and the air. Like everything about that time, that very specific time of year feels so vastly different from any other time of year. Like you just walk outside and you smell the air and you're like, yeah, it's fall.
Yeah, I felt like we were kind of robbed of that this year.
A little bit. It feels like it for sure.
Well, I guess last year now.
Yeah. But we made it work for the most part. We'll make this year better.
Yeah, we're supposed to be getting married, right?
Hopefully. We'll see how that goes. I'm trying.
Instead of face masks, we'll just wear latex masks.
Latex masks.
That's probably I don't know. Can't really filter out anything, so probably safe.
I don't know. Some people say that's not safe. I don't know. I don't know if it matters.
I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to speak on the behalf of that. But I'm just saying, latex seems a little bit thicker than fabric.
But they still have the holes in the mouth. Most of them do. So you still want to wear a mask.
We'll just cover those up too. We'll just
wear a mask under your mask.
Yeah.
There you go.
Just cover all the holes up. No ventilation.
Yeah, you know.
You don't need to get the air out.
I want to make it. I want to make this Halloween cool.
We're gonna go see Halloween Kills, right?
That's the plan.
Candyman
And Halloween Kills are hopefully, because they were supposed to come out last year, so hopefully they'll come out this year. And I don't know.
I guess Scream was supposed to come out last year too.
Yeah.
Or it was supposed to come out. No, it was supposed to come out this year, but it got pushed back 1 year over.
Yeah. So this is going to be the year of all the spookies. I hope. I guess we'll find out. But no, yeah.
Rumor has it Stu will be back in the new Scream.
Yeah.
We'll see about that though. I feel like when you get a fucking tube TV dropped on your head, it's over.
Yeah, how do
That's
you
just
bring him
though.
back?
Could have been in concussion the whole time. Although I
Dude,
feel like
no.
they talk about that. I feel
Those TVs are so heavy. There's no concussion. Your head gets that's like pure glass right there. Like you remember those TVs? You have to remember those TVs.
Of course, I remember all the TVs. I've had every generation. Okay, that's an exaggeration. But when I was growing up, we still had bunny ears and we could adjust the color on the TV. You kids don't got that no more with your LEDs and your flat screens.
We had that big TV. I swear to God, this thing was like 800
You mean the
pounds.
TV that's also like the speakers are on the bottom? And then it's got the back. Those were high end.
It was I don't know how
and
my
then
parents.
Sometimes you'd have that TV and it'd have a DVD and a VHS drive in it.
We didn't have that. So we had the TV. I'm trying to dig into my memories. It had two huge speakers on the side of it, but it also had like bonus speaker, like those big bulky, like you know that color of wood in the 80s and the 90s, that light wood color that everybody had back then. It had that on there.
Wood stained vinyl.
But like that light colored.
Nasty
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
You look at it and you're like, that's fucking 90s right there.
Half of the apartments here still have it.
Yeah. So
People
it's that.
Living here since the 90s.
It was that. And then the TV was in the middle of these two huge speakers. And that was, I think we had like our DVD. No, it wasn't a DVD. Our VHS player wasn't in that living room. Our VHS player was in my parents' bedroom's TV, which was smaller and plastic. But this one, I think it was too old of a model or something, because I remember the only time we were able to really watch DVD or VHSs, was in my parents' room, because that's where I'd watch all my Pokemon and stuff and my Disney movies.
Back when Pokemon was on VHS.
Dude, yes. I watched those on repeat to the point where I think I broke one of them. My little sister watched Tarzan so many times that the VHS tape unrivaled.
The soundtrack for the animated Tarzan.
I think so. But she watched it so many times that the tape unraveled and it broke. And I was like, damn, girl.
Was like, I think I had a thing about Jaws back when Jaws was on VHS, and it still had To get the bonus materials, you fucking had to stick the second tape in there to watch it. And you couldn't select. There was no select.
Dude, back
You'd
when...
have to watch all the bonus materials back to back to back.
Dude, do you remember Titanic had to be on 2 different VHSs?
Started Gone with the Wind, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was so big. It was so big. It had to be on 2 VHS tapes. Shit, crazy. Now everything can be slammed onto one disc. It's insane. But when we got DVDs, then we were able to watch them out in the living room, if I remember correctly.
And Blu-rays were fucking scratch proof.
Yeah.
And now it's 4K Ultras.
Dude.
Everything's going to 4K.
It's so crazy. Remember blue discs for your games?
Yeah, I think was that PS2 or PS3?
PlayStation 2.
Yeah, I started that. I was gonna say.
It didn't go to PS3 because it was, I don't think it did, but it didn't go to, as far as I know, it didn't go to PS3 because it was so bad. Like blue discs. If I ever opened up my PlayStation game that I rented from Hollywood Video when Hollywood Video was connected to GameStop, I would open it up. If I saw it had a freaking blue disc, I'd be like, shit. Because there was like a 50-50 chance that if you put that blue disc in there, it may or may not be read by the PS2. You don't know.
Remember when there was the gold DVDs that would occasionally work but wouldn't?
That's the point. I'm like, every time they did that, I don't know the technological reason why they did those discs, or at least the blue discs. But all I know is that they sometimes worked and sometimes didn't. And I hated it.
Every once in a while, you'll find stuff like that in like half-price books or at Value Village. You'll be like, fuck, dude, I don't know if anything will read this.
It won't. I mean, my PlayStation 2, I had the new refurbished one.
I was fighting the Terminator 2 because it wasn't the regular silver DVD.
Oh.
It was the gold, remember? I was sticking it in and out. I'm like, Jesus Christ, really?
Yep.
And it took like 5 times for the PlayStation to be like, oh, this is DVD.
Oh, God. I think in that time, people were still trying to figure out like I mean, technology was still building. Like the internet like just became a thing not too long after you and I were born. It was just becoming a thing that you could have at home.
Missing that dial-up sound, aren't we?
It's certainly nostalgic. So, okay, well, speaking of nostalgia, what's your favorite like Halloween memory, I guess you could say? Or not even favorite. What's one that sticks with you that you think about often?
Halloween? Like the holiday or the movies?
Both. Like what about like the movies? Like do you have like a memory
Oh yeah, finally being old enough to watch Friday the 13th after I went trick-or-treating.
Really?
Yes.
Your mom said sure.
My mom's like, fine. She's like, kids are gonna get killed in this. I'm like, yep, that's the whole point. But I really love I guess we're talking about Halloween, just like the holiday in general. There's something nice about dressing up, seeing all the lights, seeing like a lit up pumpkin on the porch. I don't even see that out here anymore. And I don't know if it's just Washington, but I also feel like the holidays are just generally rushed.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like people really care about the holidays. They just kind of want to get stuff.
I think, I feel like people just go through the motions now. And maybe it's because we're older, but definitely
there's no build up to any of them anymore.
It just feels like everybody kind of goes through it. Nobody's actually like, nobody's actually kind of celebrating the holiday. Celebrating the holiday or anything. It's just kind of like, here it is, and now it's gone.
Yeah.
They kind of just force themselves through it.
Those people who are decorating for Christmas on October.
Dude, on Halloween night,
I'm like, dude, it's not, no. That doesn't, to me, that doesn't fly with Christmas. That's just me. But I think you can decorate for Halloween in like late August, early September.
Well, that's, to me, the reason why Halloween feels like the ultimate holiday is because you can celebrate. Yeah, you can have Halloween around all year round, always. You can always be a Halloween freak anytime, all the time. But if you see somebody walking around with fucking Christmas hats and gear on in summertime, you're going to look at that person and be like, what in the hell is wrong with you? So it's weird. It's like you can be Halloween 24/7 all year round, but Christmas is so specific time of year that it really does feel odd seeing it outside.
Christmas evil. Remember
Yeah.
that guy?
Yes. It just feels odd outside of December. So that's why I think Halloween is so cool. It's because it's such a universal. It's a group of people, really. It's a people that like Halloween to the point that you and I do. Horror, Halloween, everything, every aspect about it. It's a little community, if you will. It's kind of interesting. I know Christmas has their people that love Christmas, but I don't feel like there's a community built around it like there is with horror fans and stuff like that. It's interesting.
I mean, how many times can you watch the same love story during Christmas?
Dude, they're all the same. They're all
When
copy
you can
and
watch
paste.
so many different horror movies each year and not get bored.
Even if it is like the same slasher and over again,
I mean,
every
obviously-
kill is still different. There's still something kind of different about it. That's the one thing you can admire about horror. And another thing I like about horror is it's not. Horror movies can go against the grain. They can take something that's like socially unacceptable and kind of, or not even that. They can take something that's something serious that needs to be talked about, and they can shine a light on it and show how wrong this topic is, and like maybe, you know what I mean? It takes subjects that people are kind of scared to talk about. Like back in the 70s, it was very like here's like sexual things, and that was so taboo to have, but it brought it to light and stuff like that. So it's kind of like it takes things and it's able to kind of push that line a little bit more so than like a romance movie would, or dramas, stuff like that, if that makes sense.
People that I think are really good at doing that are Jordan Peele and George Romero.
Yeah.
George Romero and
Exactly.
Jordan Peele. To me, I also like some of the stuff that Wes Craven did. Another thing that's really great about horror is that you could watch another culture's horror movies, and you could see what's going on in their world, and
dude, yes,
you'd get a full scoop of how they're viewing their world, their society, their part of their culture.
So cool. You watch a romance movie and it's pretty much the same in every
cut and dry,
story.
yeah.
But you watch horror, like Japanese horror is so vastly different from like Americanized horror.
Tag.
Italian horror is so different from Japanese horror, from
Genres.
American horror. It's crazy to me because like you just said, like there's so much like variety in terms of like, and some of them are very artistic. Some of them are more horror, crime related. Some of them are like monster, paranormal. Like I love Japanese
it's also
horror.
Something you could say is you'll see how society has changed. You'll go from like Creature from the Black Lagoon to suddenly you have blaxploitation films like Blackula, and you'll have things like zombies, and originally zombies were just, mind control.
Yeah.
Now, and then you
Like
got
voodoo.
George Romero does a great job with that. It's my favorite one. I always talk about, you'll hear me talk about and reference a lot, is Dawn of the Dead is like the breakdown of society and consumerism. What would you do in an apocalypse? And would you get wrapped up in something like a mall? Right now, malls are dying. They're on their way out. But consumerism is still very much a big thing. We deal with it on a daily basis. Black Friday is still huge.
Yeah.
We're making the owner of Amazon filthy rich.
Yeah.
Filthy fucking rich.
Yep.
And I don't think we're going to see a downfall of consumerism anytime soon.
It's so, that is what it is. It's one of those things that'd be almost virtually impossible. You can sit here and tell people about it all day long, but in the end, you and I are still going to need to go to the store and get food. You and I are still going to need to get supplies for the house, stuff like that. Like you still need to do these things, and we're still going to buy shit that we don't need because the internet told us to, and we bought into it and we did it anyway. Unfortunately, it's one of those things that you're just like, shit. Like, but your George Romero was able to use horror movies to bring that subject to light. He, just like Jordan Peele is able to take horror movies and show like his side of things, like with like cultural differences and stuff like that, and how horrific that in its own can be. And then like Us was even more than that. Like you're taking these social things.
Another good
And
one, American Psycho.
Yes.
I'm trying to remember the director of right now. I know
American
it's a female.
Psycho.
That's another good standard of society. These people who are so narcissistic and full of themselves, not seeing the world around
Literally
them,
getting
thinking-
away with murder.
Yes.
Yes.
You might think that this guy's an all right guy, but
'Cause
he's
he makes
actually
millions
a
of
fucking
dollars.
serial killer. And
Yeah.
you listen to Patrick Bateman. He's going around telling people he's killing people, he's cutting them up. Nobody pays attention to that because they're so full of themselves.
They're too
They're too
involved
over-
in their lives.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're more focused on their life. Like, yeah, he literally was like telling I can kill people, and then like everybody didn't care. They were so focused on their own
Yeah.
life and what was
I'm gonna
happening.
cut you up. I'm gonna play in your blood. And his renowned his like renounced like epiphany and all this, and not epiphany, but like his like how he feels about everything is boiled down to like what's going on like with music and movies and just superficial things that are just
Mhm.
unimportant.
Yeah.
In like people like me and you would be like, okay, that's great. I have to do other things. And he's like over here, he's like, I like Huey Lewis in the news. And he's worried about watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre and porn while he's working out. He's got all these other things. He's fucking not all there, but everyone treats him like he's a great guy.
Because he's got money, and that was the
That was it.
the thing. It was like to show you that, like, I don't know. But that's exactly it. Those are some great examples of why like horror isn't just like fucking Jason and Michael killing
It isn't
people
just
for no
people getting
reason.
chopped up. It's a lot of things.
There's
there's huge umbrella.
Yeah, there's some really good horror movies that can describe society and how in the horrific side of society, and can really push that to the edge and show it in a very literal sense. Like, look at these zombies. We're the zombies. We're the consumers that are going to the mall and we're going to go buy these things that we don't need, but we're gonna because the internet tells us to. That's it.
I know, that's what commercials were back in the day.
Mm-hmm. And so it's baffling because it's like people, like people like when they're like, oh, I don't like horror. And it's like, no, but there's so much more to horror than just
You're not
that.
seeing outside of it. Another good one is a slap to. It's like a slap to us, pretty much, and just like what's going on was The Dead Don't Die.
Dead Don't Die,
Yeah.
Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun
They
of the
kind of like the goofy horror. They really like take. Then you have Scary Movie that literally shows the like what like actual horror. It literally
Like the
takes
cheesy
horror
cliche,
yeah,
and parodies
and it flips it on its head. But then you got stuff like Shaun of the Dead and The Dead Don't Die that take it and put like this dry humor to it and show you like it's taking something that was already about societal norms and how terrible some of them can be, and like really like trying to put it into your face. Like, this is what it's about. I mean, like Shaun of the Dead, they all went to the bar that everybody was going to. All the zombies were at the bar, and then they literally said the thing that they said in Dawn of the Dead, pretty much. Like, they're going where they're familiar, but they were all going to the fucking bar, and that's the joke. It's like
Ed and his fucking conspiracy theories.
yeah, it's
Well, Big Al says dogs can't look up. They can't. Yes, they can. I fucking knew it. All right. But dogs can look up.
But that's, I don't know. There's so much genre to horror. Like, and if you get like Shudder, for example, you can really see all the different layers of horror that are out there, that it's so
I like that.
Cool.
I watched that movie, Super Dark Times. That's a great one. It's a great one about it's coming of age nightmare. And it's basically
That's so
about
cool.
like teenagers growing up. You've got all these hormones and shit going on. You're awkward and outcast. Short story is the kid ends up getting really angry. They get into a fight and he accidentally stabs his friend, and then it just turns into a paranoia film. That being said, though, that's a great movie. Like, not to be on sensitive subjects, but there's a lot of bullies and school shootings in the world and just terrible things. And horror is able to capture stuff like that. Horror is able to like put it into lens and talk about it. when a lot of other movies can't.
Like mental health.
And
yeah.
it's good to know these things, you know? Like, know who your friends are. Know who your family members are. What are you going to do if a killer is knocking on your door? Lock your fucking doors, for Christ's sake. This isn't the 70s anymore. See, that's another thing, too. But that can also work against us. Black Mirror. We got cameras everywhere now. Nothing's personal.
Oh, that's another good one is Black Mirror. Black Mirror is like basically like talking about how our technology can turn against us. And
Terminator.
That's scary.
Perfect examples of things that you don't want to do with technology is it can backfire. You put all your information on a website.
Mm-hmm.
If the right person knows how to hack, there's kids that grow up glued to a screen now.
Oh,
Someone's
yeah.
going to know how to get your information like that.
Dude.
No amount of chipping, no amount of protection, firewall, and VPNs is going to protect you if that hacker knows exactly what to look for, knows how to break code.
Dude,
and there
yeah.
are geniuses out there. There's geniuses everywhere. It's just a matter of what are they doing with that brain.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you
it's
don't-
true.
Technically, if you think about it, you're not safe anywhere. And horror does do a good job at capturing all this stuff.
Well, man, it takes like
Makes you think.
Yeah, it makes you realize that like I don't know, because like you'll see like Jason slashing people, and you're like, yeah, that's yes, blood, yes, gore.
That's like,
But then you got
that's
the
like starter
ones-
kit horror for me. That's
Yeah, but then you got the ones that really get into your head, and then you start thinking, you're like, man, is this like?
You like the psychological
Yes,
thrillers.
those are like they make you, or even like Alien, for example. What would you do in that situation? And I think that's what makes those so scary. It's like, what would I do
What
in
would
this
you do
moment?
in
Yeah,
the thing.
exactly. In the thing, how would you act if you were in the situation
I don't know.
of the thing?
I want to say every man for himself, but that could also get you killed quicker.
Yeah, for sure. Because if you're alone, that's when it can get you. So it's like you want to stay in a group, but you're also too scared to stay in a group because one of them could be the monster.
If there's anything Scooby-Doo's taught us is not to split up because someone's going to inevitably get fucked over by a ghost.
Also, Scooby-Doo teaches you to always suspect the unexpected. You never know who the culprit's going to be. That is...
trying to think of the names of all the villains they've caught.
Oh, man, so many.
And they turned out to just be like shady real estate agents and people trying to like collect gold and land and
just greedy
just
motherfuckers.
fucking assholes.
Like, most of them were really just greedy people. Like, none of them had any real, like, true...
I think they
there
faced
was no...
ghosts like a couple of times, like Zombie Island and the
Yeah.
Witch's Ghost. But everything else has always been somebody's...
There was no black and white until Zombie Island, but there was no real... It was very... No, there was... It was only black and white for the longest time. There was no like, well, I did this because my daughter was in the... Blah, blah, blah. It was like... It was none of that. Not really.
It was the let's unmask the villain. Freddy, let's get the trap going.
Yeah, like, it's like we caught this guy because he didn't want to sell the castle to these people because he wanted the money instead. It was almost always something like that. And correct me if I'm wrong, because there's so many episodes of Scooby-Doo out there. There probably is maybe a few like that, but majority
The
of
new
them
stuff
are...
has probably got more
Well,
paranormal
yeah.
based or alien based stuff. Excuse me, I am yawning.
I'm
And I am
thinking...
tired.
I'm thinking about the Scooby-Doos before Zombie Island. And
That's another thing that started me on horror. Stuff like that. Just Courage the Cowardly Dog, Scooby-Doo. Remember that lineup? Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. I blame like just my
Dude,
childhood.
no, our cartoons were freaky. Think about like SpongeBob even too. Simple SpongeBob. Like the close up.
Nosferatu.
Yeah, and the zoom ins on the characters and
Night,
stuff like that.
Night, 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 night.
The one when he's like in what is it, Sandy's dome, and he's like I don't need water, I don't need
Oh,
water,
the
and then his
close-ups?
face, yeah, all those creepy close ups.
Yeah. Trying to think of another one. I would say probably Cow and Chicken's freaky.
Oh no, Cow and Chicken
Courage-
gave me nightmares.
Courage the Cowardly Dog, the monsters are freaky, but the premise is good.
No, Cow and Chicken gave me. There is a very specific episode.
Mr. Needy.
Oh,
Remember
God,
that fucking
yes,
show? The
Mr.
puppets?
Meaty.
That's fucking nightmare fuel.
No, but Cow and Chicken, there's an episode that I remembered, and I watched this as a kid. And after I watched this episode, I'm like, I'm done. I can't watch this show anymore. And it was that one episode where Cow kept putting his gum underneath the table, and then it turned into a sentient being.
Ugh.
And the gum monster thing looked horrendous, and it was like obsessed with Cow because Cow created it, and it kept following Cow, and it was like super obsessive over Cow. It was creepy. It just gave me these weird vibes, and because the way it looked just irked me. It bothered me, and I could. After that, I'm like, the naked devil was one thing, but that episode for some reason was where I drew the line. I'm like, I'm done. I can watch Courage all day long, but this I can't. I cannot.
There's Evil Con Carne and what is that thing called? Flapjack. Flapjack's cute, but
I
if you
love
really
Flapjack.
look at it, like the realism to like when they zoom in on people, like
Yeah.
Candy Wife and shit like
Oh,
that.
yes.
I'm like, what the fuck?
Dude, I loved Flapjack. I still love Flapjack. I don't know why. It's just such a stupid show.
Gravity Falls was pretty good. That has horror elements.
Yeah.
These shows have horror elements, but I wouldn't say that they're horror. And that's another thing. When you have a show, Courage is definitely horror. Like that is some shit that I would not want my kid watching.
Come on, a farm in the middle of nowhere. Like,
Return the slab. We'll suffer the consequence.
no, there's definitely some. I think there was one episode that I can remember from Courage that wasn't like truly horror, and that was the what is it? The squids in the sky, the star. Oh,
Remember the one where the ugly hunchback came
Yes.
and taught him how to. I think he taught him music or something.
Yeah, something
It
like
was
that.
sad.
Yeah.
It was the bells. He taught him bells.
Nope. Yeah. So there's like
Yeah.
a few like peaceful episodes that weren't like totally like traumatizing.
You think about it too. The husband in that show, Eustace Bagg, he's an abusive piece of shit.
He's a useless bag.
Yes.
Eustace Bag.
He was just mean to the dog. He was
kind of an ass. Like
He's
now
a-
that you're older,
he's
you're
a
like, you
piece of
really
shit.
are still like Squidward. Everybody kind of like, okay, I get it, Squidward.
Dude, yeah. 9 to
But-
5 will do that to anyone.
but-
SpongeBob has a sunny disposition.
Yeah.
Change my mind.
But Eustace, like, fuck that guy. He was kind of an ass. And if you think, like, remember that Mr. Meat Canyon episode where he's like, you constantly put Mariel in danger without even fucking, he basically, he doesn't care. Like, he starts all of this shit. Like, maybe not all of it, but a lot of
The
it.
slab was a good
Yeah.
example of that.
He started so much
What's your
shit.
offer?
He starts it all with no remorse, like no thought about like, is my wife okay? Like he doesn't care. And then Courage is the one that always ends up having to save Muriel. Almost always. And she's such a sweet
eggplant.
lady.
The eggplant.
Yes.
Remember that thing? That thing
Yes.
scared the crap out of me when I was a kid.
Oh, that's such a good show. I love Courage.
Are you afraid of the dark? I've heard that's gotten a reboot or a movie or something.
I think it's a movie.
But I missed that.
Yeah.
I missed that show. And I've gone back and I've watched Goosebumps. That didn't age so well.
It was the books. The books are the ones that you want because the books you can read and you can picture and imagine in your head, and you don't have all the cheesy CGI of the 20s or 20s, 1990s.
Although Ryan Gosling, he got out of that.
That's his beginning.
Yeah, that was wow. What a glow up.
Yeah, no, that was one of his beginnings, I think.
For me, it was the first Haunted Mask. The second Haunted Mask is, but the first one scared the crap out of me. Can you imagine being stuck with an ugly face like that for the rest of your life?
No, but the ventriloquist doll is the one that stuck with me.
So my thing with that is they never did the first Night of the Living Dummy. They went Night of the Living Dummy 2, and then they did the Return of the Living Dummy.
It was when,
and I don't know why they skipped that book because like the buildup of this character was so cool.
I know, but it was when I watched the show aspect of it. And then they threw him down the well, but he was still alive. I'm like, oh.
Oh, you mean
fuck.
when they
No.
throw him in the well, they threw him in the sewer. He always comes back.
Yeah.
They've broken his head, and then he possessed the kid at the end.
He like finds a way. You know, another creepy one though is that one where the kid becomes a doll at the end. I can't remember what it's called. I can't remember if it was Goosebumps.
That might have been Are You Afraid of the Dark?
But yeah, he has like a doll and then like he becomes the doll at the end of the show. I can't remember. I just remembered that freaked my older sister out so
I'm trying to
much.
think of what that is. I know what you're talking about though.
Yeah.
I just can't remember what show that is.
No, it freaked my older sister out so much that she took all of her American dolls that were in the room and then moved them into mine.
That's fine. I'll create an army of dolls.
I love dolls.
So.
Just not ventriloquist dummies.
Twilight Zone, I grew up on. I didn't like it at first because it's black and white, but I got over it. You get when there's nothing on TV or you're homesick from school, you get over black and white pretty quick.
Well, yeah.
That's why this whole I don't want to like watch black and white movies is so bullshit. You could learn so much about how society was back in the day. But for me, one of the bigger ones was Night of the Living Dead. That was one of my favorite black and white movies. I still want to watch all of the Invisible Man. I've seen the first Invisible Man. These are staples of horror. These are like universal monsters that everyone should know, because without them, we just wouldn't have the movies that we have today. There's no way.
Creature features. Dracula.
You've got
Nosferatu.
Frankenstein. You've got Bride of Frankenstein. Nosferatu's earlier than those guys.
I know.
He's very early.
He's the ultimate vampire.
Yeah, they've made so many, like they've remade that movie. They've done I think they did a biography pick about that movie.
I love vampires, so I'm a sucker.
You wouldn't have Lost Boys without Nosferatu.
I know. I love Lost Boys. That's a good one too. I think there needs to be more vampire. I know there was a whole TV show about shit like that.
Are we talking about Vampire Diaries and True Blood, or are we talking about Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
Both.
I grew up on that too. I grew up on X-Files and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. My mom would watch that in front of me too. There's other ones.
Yeah.
X-Files is great. I'm not a fan of the new stuff.
Yeah.
I just recently started watching the Twin Peaks. I've seen bits and pieces of it my whole life. I've been needing to finish it. But I just don't have the time for it, and it's driving me crazy.
I love Twin Peaks, though. That shit's so good. Because it's like, you don't expect the ending.
You don't expect it to be paranormal.
No, because you watch the whole thing, and you're like, oh man, who's the killer? Who's the killer? We got to figure out who the killer is. And you just think that Agent Cooper is just kind of little
loopy.
Yeah, you just think he's just a little eccentric. He's a little out there. You're like, it's all in his head. He's just a goofy man. But then you realize, like, oh shit, like there's actual like fucking paranormal. The dad's all possessed by a fucking demon and shit, and then they have to like exorcise him.
There's the new series that we have yet to see. Apparently, God, I'm trying to think of what his name. He plays Shaggy. He plays Stu in Scream.
Oh.
Apparently, he makes an appearance in that new one.
Like Matthew
Lillard or Willard or something like that. I think that's what his name is.
Oh, I love him, and I feel bad that I can't remember his name.
Then you got what's his name? Riverdale's like a cross between which is funny because his partner in crime, I can't remember his name, was in Scream 2, and he's the dad of Jughead.
Yep.
And it's like you got a cross between Twin Peaks and you got the Archie comic characters.
Well, because the Riverdale show was heavily inspired by Twin Peaks. That was kind of the vibe that they wanted to give off.
The only thing that I don't like about it is that there's so much insane drama. You have to watch every episode and you can't miss a beat.
It's with Riverdale, it was good, but I prefer the first season. That one was kind of the season because there was so much mystery, and I'm a sucker for like true crime kind of stuff. So like, ooh, crime mystery. I was like, yeah. And so, but the second season and third season, it just became more and more drama.
You got these 35-year-old kids trying to be teenagers. I'm like, in no time in my life have I ever looked as ripped as Archie.
Dude, no teenager looks ripped like that.
Like, there's no way in hell. I've never seen a jock that ripped.
I've seen maybe one or two jocks like that, and they were like fucking football players, and they were built for that size. But the rest
All
of
they
the
did was
teenagers,
fucking spend time in the weight
Exactly.
rooms. There's no way they did anything else.
no, that's what they did. They were just purely like that was it. It was sports was their life. Everybody else, like, I mean, I don't remember any kid looking like fucking Archie and shit. Most of them look like Jughead. Fucking Cole Sprouse. Most of them look like Cole Sprouse.
Closer to our age than I think those other kids are.
Yeah, most of them look like him, just kind of like skinny, scrawny, dweeby, but not like super built
Super
muscle.
smart though.
Yeah.
He's super. That's one thing is Jughead's really clever about things.
I think he's my favorite character, but I have a thing for brooding kids with issues.
Mommy and daddy issues, separation issues.
Every character that I like ends up having some kind of like issue revolving that, and I don't know why. And maybe it's because their development is so interesting to see because so many of them like develop.
You don't like Mary Sue's?
No, I like troubled characters because there's more. I guess, more relatable to how they feel with certain things, and maybe not everything. Like not every character like that, of course, but there's a limit, but most of them have like some kind of depth behind the character that you can relate to a little bit easier than like the perfect Archie character, for example. You know?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, can you relate to Archie? Maybe in the second and third season.
Separate, but not in the first season though. He's the boy next door.
Yeah.
But
so basically we asked
about
what got us into horror. Basically, the nostalgia of horror. Is there? I'm trying to think of like a.
I'm saying for me, my parents.
Yeah, ultimately.
My parents, but I was always, when I was a kid, I love Goosebumps. Like, I feel like that's something. I guess nobody really ever dies in Arlstein.
No.
Ooh, we were almost going to meet Arlstein. Remember that?
Yep.
But it was packed.
Yep.
That sucked.
Yeah, we didn't get to meet him. But I'm kind of the same way. I think you and I both kind of just naturally gravitated towards those things. And that's kind of how we met in the first place, was we just both liked horror. And that's how our conversation started.
Yeah.
Was horror. You were, the first time I met you, you were talking about Friday the 13th and hockey masks that you were looking at behind.
Dude, I told you about Never Hike Alone.
Yeah.
And now we're getting a series. We've got Never Hike in the Snow. And that has been like the revival, I think, Friday the 13th
Friday,
needs,
yeah.
Because I don't think we're ever going to see anything.
At least not in our lifetime.
Not the way that court case is going.
No, yeah.
For those of you who don't know, there's been a huge battle for the Friday the 13th rights for the franchise. And it's between the original screenplay writer and the director.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just been going back and forth since, I think, I want to say like 2011, something like that. It's been crazy.
Well, that's why the Friday the 13th game can't continue on, really.
But we got Voorhees. We got Never Hike Alone, Never Hike in the Snow. We've got a bunch of fan films. I think Darcy appeared in one of them.
Yeah. The last one, I think she was like a not a counselor. She was like a camp escort or something.
It was What If This Happened? And CJ, I want to say his name, CJ Grams from Part 6 plays it. It's not Never Hike in the Snow. It's Vengeance. It's Friday the 13th Vengeance.
Yeah,
something like that.
Darcy was in there, and she was basically like they were like showing him around the campsite or something like that, right? Yeah.
That one wasn't bad either. I'm liking these fan films more. We don't need Hollywood anymore.
No.
We need people to go out there and get it themselves.
Well, if you think about it, that's how a lot of those started. Maybe not Friday the 13th, but like
that's how George Romero started.
Yeah, but like Michael Myers, Halloween, it started with the smaller budget, not a huge one.
Halloween was still very Hollywood, but it wasn't. The first one wasn't. The second one was. Yeah. Universal was backing part 2. Yeah. There's all this crap behind it. But I think it was Trenka International or something that backed the Halloween. I can't remember. I want to say that's it.
Yeah.
And I think
but it wasn't
Mustafa
as big.
Kaid produced it.
Yeah, it wasn't a huge company producing it.
No, it is now because of that.
Yeah.
That's what they're known for. But when it came out, it wasn't anything big.
Well, Evil Dead. Look at Evil Dead.
Evil Dead, the first one's that company that backed them doesn't even exist anymore.
No, yeah, and for a movie, it was a very, very low budget, which is why they did everything in one cabin.
Them like 2 years to make that movie,
and they did everything in that one cabin. They've had to rebuild the inside, unfortunately, for a few scenes.
George Romero. They got the actors. They spent so much time in that house. They washed in the river. They were living in that farmhouse that they filmed it in.
And it adds a little oomph to it. But now, like with things like that and Evil Dead, like you can see like they become so much more than that now. Like there's whole franchise. Evil Dead is a whole TV show. George Romero movies are still being referenced and still being talked about and still like a huge like pinnacle of horror. Like
George Romero as a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame now.
Yeah, it's like it started off as such a small thing that was just some guys are like, let's make a movie. And now here it is. It's like you almost don't always need. I like B movies, so you don't need Hollywood. Hollywood's too scary anyway with all the bullshit.
I think you can do a lot with YouTube. You could try Netflix, but I've been seeing a lot that Netflix likes to can a lot of things that are actually not bad in the ratings department. I would definitely, research, but I think if you save up your money and you have time, you start a Kickstarter, you can get some actors, you can go out and film stuff, especially in Vancouver or anywhere in Canada, Toronto. It's cheaper, it's easier to shoot up there.
Yeah,
definitely something to look forward to.
A lot of filming nowadays is done in Canada because of that reason.
Yeah. So, anything else you wanted to add tonight, sweetheart?
Nope.
All right, ghouls. I guess this is it. I'm going to try and get out Coffee and Spooks. I'm thinking we'll do The Thing or Dawn of the Dead. I know I keep bringing it up, and I literally just have the shittiest schedule. So by the time I'm off filming and lighting, I'm just, It's all this extra work, and I have to get up and rinse, repeat.
I know.
But I'm going to try and do it because I really like this channel, and I want to make the ghouls and the spooks happy. So don't forget to like and subscribe. And I will see you next week for our lovely podcast and hopefully a video too. I'm going to make a video once a month.
Yes.
But I'll have a podcast out every week. Maybe I'll do some unboxing too. I'm looking at some horror items that I would like to display.
Well, and then also like let us know
what started you in horror.
Yeah.
But yeah, leave a comment. I will be sure to get back to you. And I'll make an email so you guys can, send messages, tell me what I should review, give me some ideas. Shoot me some ideas so I can branch out, watch new movies. That's it. Stay cool, ghouls.
Stay cool.